Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome back for another little video here. Today we're going to be trimming some 450 Bushmaster brass on the Hornady cam lock trimmer here. So stick with me and let's get into it real quick. I've got some brass here. It's already been sized, and actually the mouth wouldn't fit over the mandrel here, or rather the pilot, on most of these cases, so I've barely expanded those out as well, just so they can get around our pilot. So that's about all the brass prep we've done up to this point. Now we need to figure out what our trim length actually is. Here we'll use our Hornady handbook. And here with the 450 Bushmaster, we see our case trim length is going to be 1.690 with a maximum case length of 1.700. As we see, this is my bag with all of them that were greater than 1.700. And what we have here is a Hornady cam lock trimmer set up already down to exactly 1.690. I've already ran a couple here just trying to get it dialed in. I just kind of stuck it here on the bench with a couple of screws. My buddy's letting me borrow it, so I'm going to try and knock these out and get this back to him. And well, I don't have a really good way to trim these because Lee doesn't exactly make a case trimmer length gauge for that. And of course, there's no shoulder to index off of for most of your other trimming methods. So we're here on the lathe style, and thanks again Mr. Steve for letting me borrow that, much appreciated. So let's get these knocked out. We've got our trimmer all set up here already. It's pretty easy to get dialed in. You just use your standard shell holders that comes into this little piece here, and I loosen it up, but all we do is get that seated, and then you have to just cam that over. That's why they call it the cam lock. You just tighten that in, and then we start going to town this way. And we're almost there. Okay, we definitely trimmed something up there. Let's just touch it up with our little chamfer and deburr tool. And we'll see the length we came out at. And we're perfect, spot on the money, 1.690. So it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. I've only got maybe 50 or 60 cases here. I haven't actually counted them, but there we go. We just lock it in, get to spinning, and that was a really short one. So there we go. We'll just touch this up. And the only bad thing is trying to get this big 45 caliber case mouth into the deburr tool here. But other than that, that's a piece of cake. Very nice. So just make sure you've got this wheel back here locked into place. That'll keep your depth set. And then this one bottoms out here against this lock nut there, so they both can't move any further. We know we're nice and locked into place, and we're making pretty short work of these. Of course, this is not my favorite method at all to trim. Yeah, there we are, spot on again. 1.690. So very repeatable. This is actually very smooth too. I'd imagine with the carbide cutter, you could just fly through these like, you know, melted butter. But these blades are doing just fine. And like I said, not that many of them. So I'll suffer this one time to be done with all my 450 brass. I'll have it all prepped finally. Once again, rather. before the next round, and then the next round, and then, you know. Then you got to start over and do it again. Well, that's why I've got the world's finest trimmer for 308, 300 blackout, 223, and then all of my rimmed pistol cases I do with the Lee case gauges on my Lyman case prep center. So those are all pretty low effort. And I really only do those pistol cases just one time, just to uniform them, just that one initial go. But then, you know, your blackouts, those cases don't grow a whole lot. So like we're doing here, if you trim them to minimum, they should last a good 2, 3, 4, 8 firings, who knows. People say this Bushmaster stuff doesn't really grow. And cases like 350 Legend and these other straight wall cases, since there's no neck, it's not really stretching or going anywhere. So you're really just kind of sizing the neck back and forth this way to reset your neck tension there. And I said neck. Mouth, is it mouth tension? You got mouth tension on a straight wall? I don't know, brother. Terminology and stuff. Yeah, making quick work of these bad boys out here. I'm about to break a sweat up in here, fellers. It was up in the 80s today. And, you know, that's getting hot now. It's pretty much the, you know, middle of April and 80 degrees in Tennessee. It's doing pretty good. I'll take this over about 105 in August. That sounds horrible. Yeah, some of these must have just been barely out of spec when I measured them. Because they just take a little bit. And these are once fired. I've not fired them, but I bought them as once fired, so some could have come out of a bolt gun, some could have come out of an AR. They could have come out of several bolt guns or several ARs. So depending on how those chambers cut, depending on how those chambers were cut, we could have more or less stretching on some of these. They are all Hornady head stamps though. I really have barely seen any like Federal or Winchester, or I've seen more Starline than anything else aside from the Hornady. But yeah, Federal and Winchester and I don't know, Barnes or whoever else makes brass. They don't make Bushmaster brass, which is nice because all the once fired stuff you buy is pretty much all going to be Hornady. Or like I said, Hornady, and then like 10% Starline, and then like less than 5% are every other head stamp mixed together. If you like your cases to match, at least. You know, if you got the OCDs like me on certain things, you gotta make some stuff match up in your head to make it work out, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So although we're getting a break to do this between each case, my hand's getting tired. But what, we've only been recording for not 10 minutes, and we're maybe a third to 3/8 done. 3/8 more than a third? I think so. I don't know. Fractions, man. And really, after you trim this off, that might have been the least amount yet, but it does square it up a little bit, but it's pretty easy to, like 1 or 2 passes that way. I think that was 3, and then you got 1, 2, 3. And so these clean up pretty quickly. But it's not a race, you know. We do like our things to be done nicely. Ooh, so beautiful. But you can see inside there where the pilot is rubbing on there. So I did have to open this mouth up a little bit on the expanding dies, which is kind of weird because usually you just size and then you trim, and then you can do all the other crap after you trim. But you know, we had to open those mouths up, so I don't know if that leads to extra stretching or what that does, because now we have to go back and still expand them a little bit again to get that flare we need, depending on the bullet we're using at that specific time. And then that pilot gets stuck, so it's hard to work backwards. Gonna get all dummy winded, man. This is a workout. It's a dang old workout, man. Making a mess over here. Oh yeah, that was nice. I like those. They should all be about that length. That would be cool. But yep, this is pretty much the process here, so I reckon we'll knock some of these out and I'll let you know if anything interesting happens. So let's kick it into gear and I'll catch up with you here in a bit. Okay, well, you see we've only got a few left here. We were working extra hard and then extra slow there. But yeah, we're making quick work of this. Some of these we're barely touching on. So that's pretty sweet. And, you know, I know some people for their 223 blasting ammo, they don't care, they don't trim it all, they'll just size and load it, freaking send it for, like, you know, just bulk blasting 223 55 grain, whatever. I personally know people that do that. But trimming is very, very important on a straight wall case, such as the 450 Bushmaster or 350 Legend or the now announced 400 Legend. Anyways, yeah, that's how the case is going to headspace. And headspace is very important because you don't want your firearm to blow up. You want it to properly seal. You want it to hold the pressure in properly. You don't want your case to stretch out. You don't want it to rip in half and blow up before your bullet leaves the barrel. So headspace is very important on a case like this, and you set that via your trim length. So that's why this is very important, to get them all the same. And legend has it, you know, legend has it. Old legend has it that accuracy and headspace go together. You ever think about that? That's just what the old urban legend is, though, so I don't know. Never really tested it. So on and so forth. I'm just some dummy on the internet. But I'm sure, actually, you know, like say you had some really nice Lapua brass, and after a few firings, that brass is fully formed to your chamber, and you're barely bumping the shoulders back, so it's barely jumping out again when it gets fired. You know, that kind of consistency with your brass. It's got to do something for you, right? Right. Yes, there you go. Now you're following me. Right? Or am I just making it up? Am I leading myself down the rabbit hole of nothing? I'm just rambling, really. We got a few left here, and my dang fingers hurt, man. And this handle, it's nice and shiny, but a little dirty. Needs a little wiping off. But look, I've got not even 10 cases left. And you know, this much Bushmaster here, this will last for 7 lifetimes probably. It's actually harder pulling it back out than it is, you know, getting it in. Harder to pull out than to put it in. Wow. Okay. I'm sorry, fellers. I really am just rambling at this point. Maybe it's because I'm gonna miss the old cam lock trimmer. You know, this is just gonna be a one and done kind of experience. But so far, good impressions. But I feel it bottom out and then coming back out is more difficult than actually getting it to trim. So that says a lot about the blade, right? Nice and sharp. Makes quick work of the brass. But then the handle, it's really awkward, and I think if you had a drill on there, I would want to go this way with it. Wee, pull back out. Wee, pull out towards me, rather than this kind of off to the side jerking motion. Hey, if I go real slow, it's not too much different. So yeah, sorry guys, sorry I'm just rambling. There wasn't a whole lot of information in this one, unless you're trying to check out this cam lock trimmer. I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10, only because I can't comment further. I bet if we put a carbide die in there, or a carbide cutter, it would just go zing. And then of course you can get the attachment to go with the drill, so then you just go zing. And really the consistency so far, 10 out of 10. I'll measure the very last case and we'll see what we ended up at. So here after 2 more, we'll measure and see if it held true. Same length for all the cases. If anything, they would be shrinking because I'd be pushing here and that would be either moving back or, you know, it'd be growing in one direction, which would be shrinking the case. But if we land right where we need, which I think we will, then good job, Hornady. Hornady. It's like a tomato thing. All right, last one. We'll get him done real good. Oh yeah, just barely touched him. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That feels smooth and delicious. And it's so hard to line this guy up. Whoa. My cutter's loose there. Whoa. Okay. Alright. That feels smooth and beautiful just like before. And we got a 1690 coming up. I can feel it. I'm coming in there. Okay, well actually we didn't trim far enough. I gave up. I didn't trim far enough. Let's see if we can get another couple thousandths out. Yep, I saw some material. Alright, one more little touch up. And well, there you have it. We're within a couple thousandths of where we wanted to be, but that's actually within spec. That's mighty fine. I'm happy there because my hand hurts and I'm done trimming for pretty much the next foreseeable future, so that's good. If you want to check out the Hornady cam lock trimmer, I would recommend it. Probably need to get the drill attachment. You would probably want a carbide cutter eventually, but this worked just well for the small amount I'm doing. So if that's all you're doing, maybe once a month or every week or so, that's not going to kill you. And you know, you can get jacked by doing this, so get a nice workout in, you know, brother. Know what I'm saying? Get your pump on. Anyways, that was ridiculous. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.